If I show you just a silhouette for 2 seconds, could you say Mexico without thinking?
Mexico is not one style. It is layers of stone, faith, revolution, color, and imagination.
In the next 10 to 15 minutes, we travel through Mexico's most recognizable monuments, one unforgettable detail at a time.
We will move fast, but each place will be built to stick in your memory at first glance.
Every stop answers 5 questions. Recognize it, why it exists, how it was built, where money go, and the iconic detail.
We start with a city built for gods, then a pyramid that turns sunlight into a moving snake, then the heart of Mexico City.
Keep watching for the pattern. First you recognize the shape, then you learn why it had to be built that way.
First stop, Teotihuacan, where architecture feels less like buildings and more like a designed universe.
Spot the silhouette, a stepped mountain made by humans. This is the Pyramid of the Sun, massive and uncompromising. It reads as Mexico because these pyramids are sacred mountains, built to lift the earth closer to the sky. The city plan matters as much as the pyramid. Long axes, huge platforms, and repetition that feels cosmic. Repetition trains your eye. After a minute, you can recognize Teotihuacan's logic before you even see the main pyramid.
That straight avenue is a statement of control. You remember the scale because it reorganizes your sense of distance.
How it was built is smart mass, a heavy core of fill, faced with stone, engineered for endurance and scale.
Many surfaces were once plastered and painted, so the monument would shine, not just loom.
Look for the rhythm, slope, then panel. That profile becomes a recognizable visual fingerprint across Mesoamerica.
Where the cost concentrates is labor and logistics, moving tons of material day after day with strict coordination.
And then the costly finish, plaster, pigment, and surface control, because the final impression is made by the skin, not the core.
The iconic detail is psychological. You do not merely visit Teotihuacan. You feel small inside an engineered cosmos.
Now to the Yucatan, where architecture is tuned to time, and sunlight becomes part of the design.
Here, limestone is everywhere. It shapes what can be built, how it weathers, and how light bounces back into your eyes.
Second stop is Chichén Itzá, built around a feathered serpent deity and designed to be read by the sun.
Spotted instantly. 4 staircases, strict symmetry, and a summit temple. El Castillo is unmistakable in silhouette.
It looks this way because order is the message. The form is simple, but the meaning is mathematical and sacred.
This is a calendar you can climb, roughly 91 steps per side, and with the top platform, a solar year appears.
The 4 sides face the world like a compass. The design is not random. It is a deliberate instrument pointed at the sky.
But the real genius is orientation. The pyramid is positioned so light can draw shapes as the afternoon turns.
Near the equinox, shadow triangles join into a serpent that seems to slither down to a stone head below.
Even the summit matters. The temple at the top completes the story, a place for ritual, set above the calendar below.
That is why people remember it. The building performs, converting sunlight into a living myth without machinery.
How was it built? Limestone, sharp geometry, and careful stair lines, because the illusion depends on clean, readable edges.
Where does the cost go? Quarrying and transport first. Stone becomes expensive when distance and weight multiply.
Then comes carving. The serpent is not decoration, it is identity, repeated in stone until it becomes unforgettable.
The money is also in alignment. Carving is expensive, but carving placed in the perfect line of sight is what becomes iconic.
The iconic detail is time itself. You remember that a specific day and sun can make architecture appear alive.
Back to the capital, where monuments stand on an ancient lakebed and foundations become a lifelong negotiation. Mexico City's ground is soft clay. That invisible fact quietly shapes the fate of its most important buildings. Third stop, the Metropolitan Cathedral. Recognize it by twin towers and stone mass that declares authority. It looks layered because it was built over centuries. Different eras left different fingerprints, stitched into one body.
You can read the styles like chapters, older forms, then richer Baroque drama, then...
You can feel the timeline. Starting in the 16th century and finishing in the 19th leaves style changes frozen in stone.
The site is a statement, near a former sacred precinct. The location ties architecture to
How was it built on a lake bed?
with deep foundations, constant monitoring, and the acceptance that the ground can move.
Inside, weight becomes atmosphere, stone amplifies sound, and light becomes the only gentle material guiding the eye.
This is a living monument. Its soundscape, bells, echoes, and the plaza outside keeps the cathedral present in everyday life.
Where does the money go? Into what you cannot see. Stabilization, reinforcement, and careful restoration to keep the monument standing.
The iconic detail is the paradox. A cathedral rooted in history, slowly sinking with the city it defines. From sacred power, we move to cultural power. A marble palace built to announce modern Mexico to the world.
Fourth stop, Palacio de Bellas Artes. White marble, a glowing dome, and confidence that reads from blocks away. Its long construction creates its hybrid identity. When a building pauses for history, the restarted parts speak a newer language.
It looks like this because it was designed as a crown jewel, blending European grandeur with a distinctly Mexican sense of spectacle. Even its styles tell a story, elegant curves outside, then a modern interior language shaped by a long, interrupted construction. How was it built here? On soft ground again. Over time, the palace sank, turning geology into part of the narrative.
Where did the money go? Into heavy materials and handling. Marble demands transport, cutting, and near-perfect installation.
Some stone can be local, some imported. Either way, the expense is the same. Weight, transport, precision cutting, and flawless setting.
Inside, Art Deco takes over. It feels like a machine for ceremony, designed to guide crowds toward performance.
Walls become narratives. Murals here function as national memory, scaled up until painting becomes architecture.
Then comes the cinematic detail. Even the safety curtain is art, built to protect the hall and still to impress.
A vast glass mosaic curtain depicting volcanoes, turning a functional barrier into an emblem that audiences remember for life.
This is where money hides in plain sight. Thousands of glass pieces, engineered to function perfectly.
That is the hook. A palace so theatrical that even its functional parts become masterpieces, impossible to forget.
Now we trade marble for silence and scale for intimacy in a house that reshaped modern Mexican identity.
Approach is intentional. The street stays quiet, so the interior experience can feel like stepping out of the city's noise. Fifth stop, Casa Barragán. From out Sif, it is restrained, almost anonymous, hiding its power behind simplicity. It looks this way because the drama is inside. Architecture becomes emotion through light, proportion, texture, and time.
How it is built is simple materials used with discipline. Thick walls to shape light, framed views to slow the body.
This is why it is recognizable. Show a bold pink plane and a blade of sun, and many people think Mexico instantly.
Light is the main material. The building is designed so the sun does the work, changing the room without changing the walls.
Where does the cost go? Into craft and control. Clean edges, exact proportions, and the restraint to choose less. Restraint can be expensive because every surface must carry meaning. Nothing is allowed to be accidental. A symbolic detail is color as memory. Architecture becomes a feeling you can recognize in seconds, without words. One quick bonus stop shows the future, a museum that looks like a sculpture and still feels public and accessible. Recognize it, a twisting silver volume. Museo Soumaya stands out because it refuses straight lines and fixed perspectives. Its signature detail is the skin, thousands of hexagonal tiles scattering light, so the building seems to move while still.
The surface reacts to weather. A passing cloud can change the entire building. which is why it feels alive from minute to minute.
How is it built? Custom geometry and a strong structural frame, allowing open galleries and continuous circulation inside.
The interior is calm and top-lit, while the exterior is restless. That contrast is deliberate, and it is costly to engineer.
Where does the money go? Into fabrication, the structure and the skin. Uniqueness is the product, built piece by piece.
So what makes Mexico recognizable is not one style, but architecture that performs meaning again and again.
Once you know what to look for, you can identify Mexico in seconds, then explain why the form, the method, and the symbolism fit.
Pyramids become mountains, sunlight becomes a serpent, cathedrals stand on layered ground, and palaces sink yet still shine.
Homes turn color into memory, and new museums wear the future like armor. That is the Mexico your eye remembers.
If you had to choose one building that screams Mexico in a single glance, which would you pick and why?
Whatever you choose, the answer is the same. Mexico builds identity into light, stone, and time.